going on to my Fearless gang? It's me, Fearless T, again. I just wanted to share a little bit more on the truth is. A few more things just been like kind of generating through my mind, and I've been like thinking about sharing your truth. If anybody grew up like me, I grew up in a home wherein it was said that whatever goes on in our home stays in our home. Like if whatever is done there, it stays there. You don't tell anybody what goes on outside of our home. And so it was hard for me, because things were going on in my home and I needed to talk to somebody about, but because of what was said, it was a little scary. So you keep that stuff. So, I grew up and I didn't share a lot. I didn't talk a lot. I actually didn't even have a lot of friends, more so because I was scared if I got too comfortable that things would come out that shouldn't come out. But it was other avenues and aspects about not having friends as well. But I didn't realize until I was older that I had a voice, that I could tell my truth, that my truth mattered, that my story mattered, that even behind that is healing, behind your truth and telling your truth and sharing your truth with others. And I'm not a Bible scholar. I don't even think of myself as any type of theologian at all. I do know a few things about the Bible. I do study the Bible, but a story that sticks out to me and is just so close and dear to me when it comes down to the truth is Joseph. He was in the book of Genesis. He was bothered by his brothers. His brothers picked on him. They called him like the little dreamer, and all kinds of other stuff they probably could have said to him. Whatever. They ended up selling him to Egyptians, and he never told his father that he was being picked on. It doesn't state that in the Bible that he ever told that he was being picked on. He never even told that it states who he was when he was sold into slavery, who he was, who his father was. He never said anything. He just went through. And then he went through a lot of stuff. He went through a lot of things in his life, being accused of rape, and that was just a bold-faced lie. But he went to jail. He never told, hey, she's lying, get me out. He never protested. Like I said, according to the Bible, it never stated that. And I'm just assuming that he just went through. He went through this jail time. He went in there, and the baker and the cupbearer, he interpreted their dreams. They said they had his back. They would tell the king, and they got out, and he's still chilling in jail. And it was like years later before they were like, oh yeah, I forgot, it is a dream interpreter. And once the pharaoh was like, he needed someone to interpret his dreams, that's when some of his truth began to reveal itself. But years went by, and he was second in command after his release from jail, and he just began to live a life. And it wows, because those same people that hurt us, those same people that tried to keep us from telling our truth, it just so happens that they circle back around. And that his brothers had to circle back around and needed something from him after starting all of this stuff with him, getting him put in jail, in slavery, then him going to jail. But wow, lo and behold, they needed to come to where he was living to get food and things of that nature to survive because of the famine where they were. But the point I want to get to is at the end, Joseph, he could have easily been like, oh, no, I'm not giving them anything. I'm not going to forget it. Let them starve, all the stuff they've done to me. But he didn't. He cared for them, but he told his truth. He unveiled his truth. He had to unveil himself. He had to take off his clothes so they can see who he was. They can see that he was their brother. And I say that because many of us, even though like with my story, is some things that I feel like maybe I should have told early on in life, but the end of Genesis, I think it's in Genesis 50, it says that, pretty much what the enemy meant for bad, God meant for good. So our truth being told, even though we feel like the things that went on in our life, they were bad, God always turned it around for our good. Even the Revelations, it says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Our truth is our testimony. So when we're sitting on that, we're telling people that God does not deserve the glory from what he's done for us. Many of us, even though we may still be dealing with the effects and the pain of the things that was put on us and suppressing that truth, we're owed to God to tell that. We are supposed to tell and talk about these things. And I'm not saying just go around telling everybody. It's a time and a place. Just like Joseph, it was a time, a designated time. God had a designated time, a designated place for him to unveil his truth, for him to, he not even had to tell his brothers who he was, because they didn't even know who he was. But he had to tell even the Pharaoh, hey, this is what's going on. This is who they were, who they are. These are my brothers, and that's even the same with us. We have to be willing to share that truth. We have to be willing to stop thinking about how we grew up on, keeping these things, because it suppresses us. It damages us in the end. I was sharing with somebody that even my relationships that I had with people, and I'm not talking about intimate relationships, but any type of relationship, friendship, whatever ship it was, that I would mess it up. I would sabotage it because I did not know how to trust people. See, when we don't reveal our truth and when we're sitting on things like that, we don't even know how to be with other people, because we don't know, if I tell them this, or if I slip up and tell them this, are they going to look at me differently, or are they going to treat me differently, or what is the case? But the truth, it says the truth shall set you free. When we tell our truth, it's so freeing. It's a freedom in the truth that we tell. Our stories, these are our stories, our testimonies. Can't nobody control it. Can't nobody tell us not to tell what we've been through or the things that has gone on in our lives. And so many times we do that. We sit on that. We sit on our hurts. We sit on our pains. We sit on our struggles. And God places people in our lives and we push them away. And most importantly, with me, I even pushed God away because I blamed him. I was like, hey, if you had not done this or placed me here or placed me in this family, I wouldn't have to go through this. However, I had to come back and say, Lord, forgive me. Forgive me, because in reality, once I realized that this was just my truth, this was just my story, this was not to define me, this was not who I am, then it made it a little more easier for me to be transparent. It made it a little more easier for me to share. And I had to find my purpose in life. And one of the things, because I had really surrounded myself with the issue at hand, the abuse that had taken place and what my life looked like. I had surrounded myself with making me look like that. I just thought my purpose was just to get out of that. And it wasn't even just that, I shared. That's part of my purpose. The things that I went through is what has shaped me into the person that I am today. And us telling our truth, being truthful with people, letting them know, letting them in, it says that we are to confess, our sins to one another, first to God, then to one another, and it's not, like I said, once again, just not saying, hey, telling everybody or whatever, but it depends on what God has. If he say tell everybody, then you go and you tell who he says. But to get past, to grow past, and to actually live in the truth of the matter of what happened in life, we got to be real and we got to be transparent about it, and we have to accept it. We can't be in denial about it. We can't be feeling like, ashamed and embarrassed. Yes, some of this stuff is some embarrassing stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the things that happened in my life was very shameful, very, not just for me, but for my family. But I had to I'm at the point I have to tell the truth for myself. It's an individual thing. Like my walk with the Lord, that's an individual walk. And so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. My prayer is that my journey, if I continue to share and be open and transparent, as I said, real, raw, and relevant, if I continue to be open with you all, that, that healing would take place, freedom, chains will fall, and people will realize, you don't have to live in this. You don't have to live life in bondage to the things that have happened to your life, but you can live in your truth. You can live in your story, because what if once I start revealing these things, these layers in my life, you'll see the truth of the Lord. It's not even about me. This is actually the truth is the Lord. It's the Lord that did this to me. It's the Lord that helped me get through this and be able to be so real with it, with others, about my journey. And so I'm hoping that you guys can get to a point wherein you can live just as free, and be able to share with someone just as close. I am happy. I have crazy friendships with people that I would never have imagined I would be so close with. They hold me accountable when I try to shut down and don't want to share the things that are going on. They give me my space, but then they pull me out of that shell, because that's what we do. We shell because of the hurt, the pain. So it's like, I'm gonna get in my shell so you won't hurt me again, or so nobody will hurt me again. When we can't live our lives like that. We cannot live our lives like that. So I thank you guys for tuning in once again. I'm just hoping that we'll just be able to go on this journey together, just grow in this together, mature in this together, and then shake off these chains that just hold us down, from not being able to live our lives as free as we want to. So once again, I thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for being part of the Fearless Gang, and I hope that we can continue to all grow together. All right, y'all.